Hello, you're listening to the Career Changemaker podcast. Having the courage to leave a career that you have worked hard to build and try something else can be tough. So in each episode, we dive into key career change strategies so that you have a clear understanding of what is required to transition into a new role or a new industry without feeling like you have to start at the bottom or have to take a massive pay cut. Because #ain't nobody got time for that. If you are ready for frank and honest discussions about how to become a career change maker, keep listening. I'm your host, lawyer turned career strategist and executive coach, Janine Esbrand. Hello, and welcome to the show. I am looking forward to this episode because we are about to take a trip down memory lane and highlight some of the stories of women who have been through the Career Changemaker program and experienced a career transformation. We've worked with amazing women. I've had the honor and the privilege to partner with awesome women to transform their careers from all over the world. And so what I want to do today is highlight their stories, because when you are in the space where you're considering a career change, it can feel very daunting. It can feel very uncertain. And I want you to hear some examples of people who felt the fear, felt the uncertainty, felt the doubt, but had embarked on the journey anyway and had incredible results. I want you to perhaps see yourself in their stories so that you can see that there's a possibility for you. For me, the way that I've been able to grow and develop in my career as a professional and then as an entrepreneur is to have possibility models. Being able to see somebody who has similar circumstances to me, who's been able to go on and achieve what it is that I want to achieve, will increase my level of belief around what's possible for me. No end, right? So sometimes the reason why we're staying where we are and not making moves is because you haven't got enough possibility models around you in your circles. You're not seeing people who are going against the grain, who are going against the status quo and actually carving out careers that are fully aligned. If you're looking around and all of your friends and family or, people that are close to you seem to have their careers all figured out, they seem to enjoy the work that they're doing, it can be really hard for you to be on a journey where you're not liking what it is that you're doing and you can't figure out how to make the shift. So lean in, listen to these case studies so that you can really understand where people were, where they got to. And for some of them, I'm going to share a little clip of our conversation that I had with them post their time inside of the program so that you can hear from them as well. All right, so let's start. So first up, I want to share with you Caitlin's story. And the reason I want to share Caitlin is because I will say that she maybe was one of my most skeptical clients. So she came into the program knowing that she wanted transformation. But as we were going through the program, she was a bit reluctant and was like, what's the point of this? Why am I doing this exercise? I can't see how this is all going to work out. And so her transformation for me always warms my heart because I know where she started, and to see where she got to just excites me. So give you a bit of backstory about Caitlin. So she was working for the same organization for about 11 years. And she was working in the oil and gas industry. And when she came to me, she was in a space where she wanted to make a move out of that industry. It was no longer aligned with her values and she wanted to do something different. But she had a lot of reservation around whether she'd be able to make a move and maintain her level of salary. So she was the primary breadwinner in her family and she didn't want to take a pay cut. And so she was trying to explore what else she could do, but she did have doubt around whether she'd be able to pivot and maintain where she was at financially or whether she'd have to take a pay cut. So when she came into the program, we went through our data framework and helped her to identify what her ideal would be, even if at the stage that we started, she couldn't really see how it was possible. I encouraged her to let go of the reservations and let go of the realism, realistically, would I really be able to do this or would I really be able to do that? Let all that go, unfiltered. What would you like to be doing? And so she identified a few different options. And one of the things that was on the table for her, or that would be an ideal for her, would be to move into something that was more focused on sustainable energy versus oil and gas. So fast forward, she goes through the program. She does some incredible work with her LinkedIn profile and really took to heart the lessons and did the step by step. She was very, very committed and thorough, is what I will say, in terms of her approach. So she showed up to all of the calls. She would go through the curriculum. She would make sure that she's done the exercises. So when she came to doing her LinkedIn profile, she overhauled it and she took in everything that I had shared with her. She overhauled it, and the results were incredible. Within a very short space of time, she started to get recruiters reaching out to her about opportunities in the more sustainable energy space. And I remember her sharing updates in the group where she was like, I had 3 interviews this week and I've got 2 interviews coming up, and I've got people reaching out to me so much that I've had to stop responding to their requests. And ultimately, she ended up being able to choose which offer she wanted to consider amongst different ones. And she secured a salary increase. She secured flexibility. She moved into a different industry. She secured a promotion. She just did the thing, like all of the things. And it was so interesting when we were doing our case study interview where she was like, everything that I wanted was checked off the list. And to see the transformation, and I think it was for her, it was about 4 or 5 months that it took her to make the transition. And to see her be able to do that, knowing where she started, just got me so, so excited. So for anyone who is in a space where you've been in your role for a long time and you don't see how you're going to move, like she was in her role, her industry for 11 years, but it all came down to positioning, how she was able to position that experience that she gained over the 11 years in a way that was compelling for this new industry, meant that she had recruiters reaching out to her left, right, and center. And that is why I talk so much about the power of positioning, and why we have a bonus for those who join this cohort of the program in the first couple of days that enrollment is open. The bonus is a one-to-one positioning call with me so that I can help you to really see your experience and pull out the experience that is most relevant for what it is you're trying to move towards. So you position yourself like an ideal candidate in the way that Caitlin did. So if that's of interest to you, make sure that you're getting yourself on the waitlist, careerchangemakers.com/waitlist, and then you'll learn more about the program. But back to Caitlin, I want to share with you a little clip from our interview where she shares how she was feeling about the results that she got.
Tell us, like, where are you? I know that the opportunity that you're moving into, when you shared with me the background, I was like, it ticks so many of the boxes in terms of what you were saying you were interested in, and working the type of company you want to work for. So I'm like, this just literally feels like an ideal opportunity for you.
It does. I wanted to move to a totally different, more socially appropriate industry. I wanted a bigger role. I wanted a smaller company. I wanted to work from home. I wanted a raise. I wanted equity. All of these things that my checklist was long, and it meets every single one of them. Every single one of them. Had this role been put in front of me before doing the course, I probably wouldn't have even applied because the title was too senior. It would have intimidated me. But doing the exercise of breaking down the skill set, looking at my experience and the transferability gave me the confidence. And when I actually spoke to the CEO that ended up hiring me, it's not like I lied. I was very straightforward about where I do have experience, where I don't have experience, where my shortfalls could be. And it was a non-issue. It was, okay, good. Now we know that. We still want you.
Now we know that. We still want you. Like, this never gets old for me. Like, this interview was done a few years ago. But every time I go back and do these kinds of, recaps, I just get so excited because the fact that she was able to tick all of her boxes and land a role that she wouldn't have gone for had she not gone through the program. I mean, so good, so good. Just gets me so excited. So the other thing that I wanted to share from Caitlin is just another clip from the interview where she was talking about the fears that she had. Because if you're in a role for a long time, you are likely to have reservations, right, about moving. So here's what she had to say about that piece.
I love how you navigated that, because one of the biggest things that holds people back is like, what if it doesn't work out? What if I take this leap, do this thing completely different, and it's the wrong move? When you kind of leverage the relationships that you've built and you position it in the way that you have, it's like, do you know what? Like, the door will be open if I need it. I'm probably not going to need it, but if I did need it, it's there. So it does take away some of that angst of like, am I making the right choice?
Yeah, and that's something that the course helped me with as well, because it seems so obvious, but it took me a minute to come around. And I think we did talk about this in one of our group sessions, was basically my entire career, 11 years, was with this one company. I felt like whatever decision I made next, that was going to be the rest of my life. Like, and I was so afraid to make the wrong decision and be miserable for the rest of my life or regret it for the rest of my life. Like, for whatever reason, I had this block thinking, if I don't like it, I can try something else. Like, that wasn't even an option. And I remember we had that conversation. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good point. Like, I guess I could, I'm so worried about being like a job jumper on my resume. I'm pretty sure when they see 11 years, even if they see a 6-month thing, it's not that big of a deal. So that was a really valuable discussion we had as well, was just realizing it's not set in stone. It's okay to try something.
Yeah.
That mindset shift is golden. Like, going from feeling like this next move that you make is like the big decision and it's going to be something that's irreversible is a big reason why people don't make a decision, when actually making a decision and getting into a role and recognizing that you can always leave, like you can always find another opportunity. Like, nothing is set, nothing is in stone. So give yourself permission to explore, because sometimes it might take a few moves for you to get to where it is you want to get to, but you've got to do the moves, like you've got to take the action. So if you're somebody who's been kind of like, yeah, I want to make a move, but I've been here for so long, and like, what else would I do, and what's out there? Start the process, start exploring, so that you can get to the place where Caitlin is, where it's like, this new opportunity ticks all of my boxes. Okay, so that's Caitlin's story. I want to move on. I've got a few that I want to share with you today. So the other that I want to share is Rachel. I want to share Rachel's story because Rachel was somebody who was in a very toxic work environment. She was ready to change, but in the midst of that, she was still dealing with the day-to-day, right? She was still dealing with the pressures, the demands, and everything that comes with being a lawyer who's got 20 years of experience, right? So she's working hard in this firm. She knows she doesn't want to do that anymore in that way, but she couldn't quite figure out what her next move would be. But she was just exhausted and burnt out and frustrated. And so she came into the program being like, I'm ready for change. And we went through the process. She had identified early on in the process that when we were in the phase where we're exploring different options, similarly to Caitlin, I was like, let's do this unfiltered. Like, if you could do anything, what would it potentially be? And on the cards was running her own business, but it was a very light, like a light option in terms of her not really believing that she would do that. It was kind of like a one day I could see myself running my own thing, but that's not my reality. She went through this program, exploring her options. She ended up transitioning away from being in a traditional law firm to joining a consultancy, which is almost like a halfway house, right? Between being in a law firm and all the structure that comes with that, and then working for yourself, because you're working as a consultant, so you have more autonomy over your time and what it is that you do. So by the end of the program, she had just been having conversations and was about to start with this consultancy. Fast forward about 6 months or so, she gave me an update and was like, yeah, I'm going to start on my own. I'm going to go out on my own. And what is incredible to me is that at the beginning of the journey, that wasn't even a real thought for her. That was like a throwaway comment that she didn't really think was realistic. And for her to then be like, I'm actually going to start my own firm, incredible. And a year on, she is doing amazing. Like, I see her popping up on LinkedIn all the time. I see her posts. I see what she's doing. And we had a catch up. And so I'm going to share with you a bit of that conversation. But the transformation is just unreal. Like, she's so happy. She's so happy now compared to how she was before. And so for anyone who's in a space where you're just like, this is not working, this feels very toxic, this feels detrimental to my physical health, to my mental health, like, don't stay in it. Figure out your move, because it's possible, it's figure outable. It just takes time and dedication and commitment to the process, but you can absolutely get on the other side, right?
If there was someone who's watching this and saying, like they're either on the fence about getting support or joining our program, like what would you say to them? What advice would you give them?
Well, if they've come this far and watched the video, then they already know that it's going to be good. I think to trust it. You said to me before, well, you would say to me probably every week, trust the process. Like, yeah, right. Keep rolling it out. But of course, I did trust it. I always trusted it, even when I didn't trust it, if you know what I mean. If I didn't know, I couldn't see round the corner. Just try, because I didn't end up where I expected to end up. I didn't know, well, I didn't really know, but I didn't expect to be working for myself in 12 months on. But having looked at all the options and, well, having done this sort of strange little journey to get here, that's what happened. And that can only have happened with your help and with the clarity that came from the course. I would say take the plunge, just try, because, well, there was like unhappy me 12 months ago, and now there's happy me. I mean, what else could you really want?
Exactly.
There was unhappy me 12 months ago, and now there's happy me. Yeah. Again, so excited for her. You can check out the full case study video and also Caitlin's and a few others if you head over to careerchangemakers.com/success-stories. You can watch their full interviews if you wanna like see the fuller picture. But I'm just picking out some like key things that they've said that I think will be helpful for you to showcase what's possible. Okay, so the other one that I wanted to talk about was Leah. Leah is one of those clients who warms my heart so much because I see her journey, I see her evolution. So she went through the program back in 2020, so when we were in lockdown initially, and she wanted to leave her job as a real estate lawyer for a while, actually. And then the opportunity came up for her to take voluntary redundancy. She took it, and so she joined the program at the point at which she had just left her firm, and she was trying to figure out what her next move was going to be and where she wanted to go and what she was going to do. And so went through the whole process and was able to identify that she didn't want to be in a law firm anymore, and she moved into a role that had a legal element but also more of a commercial focus. And I remember for Leah, when she looked at this opportunity, she kind of was about to discount it because she's like, Janine, I don't even know what these acronyms are on this job application. So if I don't even know what the acronyms are, how am I going to be able to like perform in the role? And so we got on a call and we kind of broke down what it was that they were looking for and all of the elements of her experience that could be relevant, even if it isn't exactly the same as what they're asking for. And long story short, she ended up landing the role, and the salary was a little bit lower than what she was on before. So we managed to negotiate a 10K increase in her salary. And so she started the role and she was doing incredibly well. Within 6 months, she was getting lots of praise from like senior management. And she did really well there. And she was there for a while. There were some changes within the structure and she decided to move on. And she moved to a new role, went back to private practice in a different area to gain some different experience that she thought would be helpful for her in the long run in terms of where she wanted to be. And then comes the latest update that I got a couple of weeks ago, which is she's moved to another organization. This one is the ideal organization. This is the one that when we did the brainstorming and she wrote down what her ideal role would look like, what her ideal day would look like, what she's landed now is that, like literally the ideal role. And not only the ideal role, but they're giving her so much in terms of the package that just ticks all of her boxes. So she managed to negotiate a £40,000 increase on what the initial offer was, or what they initially said was available for this role. £40,000 increase. And what was interesting is that she was like, Janine, I heard your voice in my head saying, don't leave money on the table. And so I went back into the archives of the program from 2020 and I looked at my notes and then I used what you shared and I managed to negotiate that increase. A lot of that was due to her positioning. A lot of that was due to her being able to fully articulate what she'd be able to bring to the table and what she'd be able to like do within the organization using all of her experience that she had before. And in addition to her being able to secure that 40K increase, she also was able to secure a level of flexibility that is not common to see. Like she only has to be in the office once a month she wants to. And she's from Brazil, and she loves to travel back and forth to Brazil to see family. And it's okay. It's okay for her to work from Brazil sometimes. It's okay for her to work from here. She can work from home. Like, there's so much flexibility. And as a working mum, that is gold. That is absolute gold. She's excited about the people she's going to be working with and what it is that she's going to be doing. And I just can't I can't express how happy it makes me to get that kind of update and just see her journey. So going from where she was in 2020, landing that first role that moved her out of the type of environment that she didn't want to be in, to now being in a space where she's moving into like the ideal role, just shows that sometimes the move isn't direct. Sometimes it isn't the case that you're going to make one move and be where you want to be. However, making a move starts that momentum that is going to lead you to where it is you want to go. So let me just read. I've shared this on socials, but in case you don't follow me, hopefully you will, or you do. But if you don't, this is what she shared with me on a WhatsApp message when she was updating me. She said the offer includes more money overall, salary bonus, and a company car. Flexibility, I can go in only once a month if I want to, and also work from Brazil if I need to. Very exciting work, and the people who are genuinely loving what they do and the team they work in. I'm still in disbelief that I got it. Thank you for everything that you've taught me. And my response was OMG and crying emoji. Because it's just so wonderful. It's just so wonderful to see. So if you're somebody who's like, okay, where I think I want to get to feels very far away, I don't know how I'm going to make it happen. Just know that it may be that there's multiple moves that you need to make, but those moves need to be strategic, and you need to understand why you're making them and what it is you're trying to get from each role, what experience you want to extract to make sure that you are positioning yourself in the longer term for what it is that you want. All right, I'm going to share, there's so many. I'm going to share one more, and this is Jen. I'm going to share Jen's story. So Jen was a client who had been on maternity leave. When she came to speak to me about potentially joining the program, she was like, I'm a lawyer and I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. I want to do something else, but I don't know what that looks like. She came into the program and we started to really dig into her values and what was important to her and what her strengths were, and that first piece that we do in the phase 1 of the program. And what she started to realize was it wasn't so much that she didn't want to be a lawyer anymore. It was that she didn't want to be a lawyer where she was lawyering at her firm, because there was a misalignment with the work that she was doing, with the values of the firm. And so it took a while, but she got there in terms of appreciating that what she was looking for was another role with a slightly different focus in terms of her clients. So she ended up moving to a new firm, serving a different type of client. So she was a real estate lawyer as well. And before, she was serving like corporations and advising them. And then she moved to a firm that had more of a focus on the charity sector and and social impact organizations and serving them. That was more aligned with who she was as a person and what she wanted to do and what she was passionate about. So she ended up moving to this firm. But not only did she move to this firm, she got a promotion in the process. So she went from being an associate to a senior associate, which is a big deal when you're moving to a slightly different practice area. It was similar, but it wasn't exactly the same. So she got a salary increase, she got promoted, she moved to a new industry all at the same time. And it was just like, yeah, to see the confidence that she had in having the conversation with the recruiter and negotiating for what she wanted in comparison to how she was showing up at the beginning of the course, it was like, yeah, this is transformation. This is transformation right there. So let me play a clip from my interview with Jen, so you could just hear about kind of like how she was thinking and the shift in mindset that she had to have in order for her to like show up and land this type of opportunity.
How you identified the role that you went for, and then what happened after that?
Yeah, it was just a really short sense of time, because I think at one point I was like, oh, Janine, I think I might need to, sort of have a rethink. And then actually it was like, oh, well, this opportunity is actually, it was flagged initially by a recruiter, I think, but there's a lot of just law firm offers. I just kind of go, no, it's not law, it's not for me. And actually they mentioned a firm that I'd known of kind of on the periphery, but I hadn't really known enough about them or did enough digging to kind of think, would that be a good fit? And actually this program had kind of enabled me to see beyond maybe just, okay, it's a law firm, and think, okay, what are their values? What kind of work are they doing? Do I think I'd actually enjoy that? And one of the things I was, so I want to do something that has purpose, I'm going to leave law, I'm going to join, I don't know, a not-for-profit, no idea how I was going to do that. And actually, something you said, Janine, of, you don't have to necessarily be working for a not-for-profit or charity to actually have purpose in the work you're doing. It can be the type of work that your company are doing, or the type of initiatives, you get involved in, or have you, and it's that, not necessarily direct connection, but that indirect, or just sort of that link. And what I found with this opportunity was it was a firm who did a lot of work for social housing and charities and registered providers, where that was something that through this process I realised I want to do something with a sense of social justice, or actually helping people. And if that meant that my work in law could actually sort of link to that and help not-profit companies or profit for purpose companies, then that's something that I was really quite interested in, as it meant not completely putting aside all my legal training, but linking the two together. So I was really excited by it. So I wanted to find out more, but the opportunity that was on the table was actually at the same level that I'm at now. And I kind of thought, if I'm going to make this big move, and it was a big move, that I needed probably to make that progression. And honestly, I'm not the type of person to go, I want, lots more. But I'm sort of, I think just going through the process and understanding my strengths and what I can bring, I sort of said, well, no, I'm really interested. It seems to really align, but I'd be looking for this next step up. And they said, oh, well, I thought they'd just say, no, go away. And they said, well, we might need to have a look and restructure a few things, but we'd like to talk to you. And I had the interview and I got the job.
No, I'm just so excited for so many reasons, Jen. Partly because you did that reflection piece of like, not just higher level, like, oh, I just want to do something else, but actually drilling down and recognizing that it's not actually like the specific task that I do on the day-to-day that I don't like. I actually quite like that. I just feel like there's no overall purpose to that.
I'm sure you can hear the excitement in her voice. Just the fact that she didn't just take what was on the table as what was on the table. Like, she could have been like, yeah, it sounds good, but it's not at the level that I want. Rather than just discounting it, she asked for what she wanted. And this is like a recurring theme of the ladies that go through this program. By the time they go through and they're able to like really understand their brilliance and appreciate their experience for what it is, it becomes a no-brainer for them to show up differently. It becomes a no-brainer for them to ask for what it is that they want. And I want that for you too. So I could go on and share multiple different case studies. But as I said, if you want to dig in and see some more, then head over to careerchangemakers.com/success-stories. And then you'll be able to dig into those interviews. But I hope that hearing these has motivated you. I hope that if you've been in a space for a while where you're looking to make a move, like let's take action. We've got a few months left of this year. If 2024 is the year that you wanted to make a transition and you haven't moved towards that yet, like let's start now. The program is going to start in September. In a couple of weeks' time, we are opening the doors to the waitlist this week. And so if you want to get on the waitlist and you want to get in, head over to careerchangemakers.com/waitlist. And you'll also receive lots of emails about the ins and outs of the program so that you can make a really informed decision about whether this is the right fit for you. But I will tell you that this is the wrap up. This is the final cohort. This is us being like, we have served so many women and we have facilitated, supported, seen so many transformations, and I'm ready to go out with a bang. Like, let's do this last cohort and just be like, yes, everybody is winning. So I want you to win. If you've been a long time listener of this show, if you have been following the work that I've been doing and you've had an inkling before that, oh, one day I want to work with Janine or I'll join the program at one point, like, this is your chance, your last chance to join the program. And so I invite you to join the waitlist, get the emails. And if you have any questions about any of the stories that I've shared or any of the case studies as you watch them, you want more context, or you want more information about the potential, right? What you could potentially experience, then feel free to drop me an email, Janine@careerchangemakers.com, or shoot me a message over on LinkedIn. All right, that's all for today. I hope you found those case studies interesting and useful. Until next time, look after yourself and keep moving towards your career goals. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe to the show so that you don't miss any future episodes. Also, I would love to know what your biggest takeaway has been from today's episode. Come over and join us in our Career Changemakers community over on LinkedIn so that you can join the conversation there. Head over to lightboxcoaching.com/community and it will take you right to the group.